have a doozy tonight. Scam alert! It's the Mark and Pires Show.
The road today, looking for another way to ease my mind and
help my living. This is the longest running daily variety show on the planet. 1,783 days in a row. I'm here doing it. How about you? Guys, we've got a story. Real good one. I put out this news story about in my town. Right now, there's this crazy real estate scam that took place. And the long story short is this. Somebody stole a property from someone, put it on the market, pretend they owned it, and then they took the money from some unsuspecting buyers. And now there's this big lawsuit because the person who really owns the property is like, wait, I wanted the house that was there. I want it back. But here's the thing. This guy's like one of those nostalgia guys, okay? And it was inherited. So it's been in the family for 70 years. And he's saying to himself, I don't want to do anything with it. I want to keep it. And I didn't want to rent it out. I didn't want to have it knocked down and a new house built there. Definitely not that. So now he's demanding that these people rip down that house and that he gets his property back the way it was. It's mental. He's asking for $2 million. So all this crazy stuff is going on right here in my town. And the crazier part about it is I'm a realtor. I actually know the realtor who got the call on this. That's the thing is nobody gets to see this information, but I'm a real estate agent. So the first thing I saw when I read the story is, well, we don't have that information. And I'm like, well, let me go on the MLS right now and find out exactly what went on here. So I saw the two agents that were involved in this transaction. I can guess at what happened here. And I'm going to show you what happened based on what happened to me. In 2022, I had a transaction on a almost $7 million piece of property at the time. I eventually sold this piece of property. But at the very beginning, I put this thing on the market. And after a little while, I got this call. And it wasn't even a call, it was a WhatsApp. The WhatsApp came through and the guy said, hey, I want to put an offer in on this property. I'm buying property in the United States. I saw this online, I saw your videos, and I want to put an offer in. Now, during COVID, guys, this was a big deal. Everybody was putting offers in on things. It wasn't like you had only like this random occurrence where someone was like, hey, I'm going to buy a property sight unseen. Sight unseen was done like crazy during COVID. So during COVID, I get a call and this guy says, I want to buy this property sight unseen. It's a $7 million piece of property. He's in China. And he's saying to himself, you know what? I'll pick up this property and I'll come over every 6 months and I'll stay there for a little bit. And the crazier thing is I don't even speak to this guy. Never spoke to him on the phone once. That was the first red flag I had. Hold on a second. We're going to...
something to live for.
Guys, this is when we get a woo-hoo from Matt Zabrowski. If you could hold on for a second, we'll get it. Zabrowski. Woo-hoo! Thanks, buddy. You know, when you ask for it and he gives it, it's a good night. You know, we're on to something. Lester, how are you? Dr. Sugar in the house. User, right? I don't know how to say it. There's like all these numbers. Pi 3.149764326594331. Check it out. That's it. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure, you know, the Einstein in me went right to the, you know, 3.149764327962964.1. Guys, so let's get into it. Over my shoulder here on TikTok, I actually have the contract that was signed. And I wanted to share that. I'm going to share everything here on YouTube. So if you guys are on TikTok and you want to head over to YouTube, please do so because we're going to look at this stuff tonight. I want to go through the story I was told. I want to share the documents that I saw and how we almost were duped by somebody over a transaction that it could have been very bad. What the hell just happened? I don't know what just happened. I got disconnected. F it, you know. Sometimes when you do it and it's not working, you know. Anyway. I was trying to do a TikTok, and it wasn't flying. I don't know why. Nothing's working right over there on that thing. Anyway, let me take it off of that holder. If we're not going to freaking use it, you know what I mean? I'm getting it out of the way. Put it over there. So let me get back to the story. I'm going to show you what I have here. This is all going to be part of a piece of content for tomorrow because many people have said they want to know more when I told them that I had a story of my own. This is a piece of content that people are looking at a little bit on Clapper and over on TikTok. I'm not sure about over on YouTube. I think I made the full clip and it didn't, maybe 40, 50 views, something like that. But the shorts may have gotten a little bit more views than that. Anyway, so what I want to do is share exactly what happened here so you guys understand how this is going on and you could be aware if you either own properties or you are a real estate agent and how these things are really sophisticated. So this guy, he's reaching out to me. He tells me you want to buy this property full asking price. And at the time, that's what you had to pay for anything. It was full asking price or more, you know. Now, that again, you know, sight unseen. So here's the story I'm told. Hey, I'm going to send you the money. I'm going to buy this thing. And then I'm going to come out there in about 3 weeks. And I'm going to come in, you know, I'm going to close this thing quick. I'm going to come out in like 3 weeks. And I'll meet you at that time, and you just bring me through, give me the keys. So that's what I'm told, right? And I'm like, yeah, look, you have to understand, as a real estate agent, to get a $7 million piece of property, someone say they want to buy it, you're like, you really want that to be a real buyer. You know, you're hoping that that's a real buyer. And so this guy, I'm going to show you the paperwork. We're not screwing around. Tonight, you guys are going to see everything. We're getting into it. Because I think it's important to do that. It's important for us to look at this stuff so you guys understand. Let's see. I'm just going to type in a bunch of shite so we can do this. Here we go. So the first thing I'm going to show you is I got this, okay? This is an offer sheet. I was, you know, given his information. He wants to put the offer in. Here you go. And so basically what I have is Ali Salim reaches out to me. Hey, I want to buy this property and send me the paperwork I'm going to sign. So I sent this over to him, guys. I sent this over to him and he signed it. And this was process starts. Okay. And again, I'm red flagging it the whole time. This guy hasn't called me. This has all been over messages on WhatsApp. And I'm thinking, I even said every single time I respond to him, I'm like, can you give me a call? Let's just have a quick chat about this, you know? And he didn't seem to ever want to call. Oh, I'm on a boat. He's like, I'm on the sea somewhere. Like, I want to see if I could find these emails because we're really getting into it tonight. You know, here's the reason why I'm willing to share this. I think it's dangerous what's going on right now out there with people like this. It's dangerous. And outside of that, yeah, I found the emails. Outside of that, this guy right here, this is like, I don't even know if I can even show that to you. I may have to save all of these things as different, like emails, save the pages. Let me just quickly see if I can go into the screen here. Let's just see. Ooh. It says it was going to work. Why didn't it work? Okay, maybe I have to open it. Do you see it? No? Does it show up when I do that? Let me just see. Doesn't seem to show up when I do that. I was hoping that would work and then we'd be able to see. Okay, so anyway, here's the deal. I'm going to read you these emails as well so you guys see what's going on here and what happened. I think this is completely, it's interesting to me because I had it happen to me. So you may not enjoy it, but I'm getting into this tonight. So Ali Salim says, I'm interested in this property. Kindly send me more information about it. And so I'm like, okay, great. Here's someone interested in my property. Let me take a look and see what he's got. I get back to him right away. What can I do to, answer any questions you have about this place? I'm going all the way back here. I can definitely help you find an attorney. So we got far here. Let me see. Let me go. Is there a way to just go back one by one? Why does it keep doing it this way? I keep trying to stay in there. And every time I go backwards, it just brings me back to today. Freaking out, look. So I'm just going to fast forward here, okay? Thank you for your response. Having reviewed... Okay, this is where it gets real, guys. Oh, fuck. Can I show this to you guys? Oh, can I show this to you guys? How do I save this? Okay, I'm saving this as an email message. No, I want to save it as a freaking JPEG. Come on, let me save it as a JPEG. How do I do this? I'm not just... All right, I have to read this to you at least. I was hoping I could save this to you. Save this somehow. Print. No, motherfucker. Save as. Why won't it let me save as... Let's just see what happens if I do save it as an email, which is what it's saying it wants me to do. And then open it that way. On the desktop. Here we go. We're trying it. So, if this works, that'll be pretty cool. So you see that? That's the contract right there. This right here. Where the frick is it? All right, well, that didn't work. I tried to save it. Oh, was that it? Yeah, here we go. All right, let's see if this works. No. Unfortunately, it's not allowing me to open that. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to share this. We're going to just get through this. I want to give you guys exactly what you were talking about, and then we're going to get into this story. We're going to move through this story and get into some music. So, Ali Salim sends me this, a proof of funds. And if you look there, it's a completely ridiculous amount of money. And when someone says that they have that much money, you're kind of like, holy cow, that's either a real person or they're totally full of shit. Now, this person right here, we're going to find out in a second. Are they serious or are they really full of shit? So the bottom line is this. I got a message from Ali Salim, and this is what the message says. Thank you for your response. Having reviewed the property extensively and have weighed the price, I am willing to pay the listing price. Sounds good. Sounds good. This guy wants to pay the listing price. By the way, he's worth freaking, 335 bill. 335 million. At least in that account. 338 million. Okay. And then, so here's what he has to say. Go ahead and draft the contract. My terms for the purchase are, the offer will be my name, Ali Salim. I am an offshore engineer. Okay, this is where it gets really awesome. And I wish I could save this as a freaking picture. Why can't I save this as a picture? What in the freaking heck? I'm right-clicking. Nothing. All right, we're going to do it this way. Oh, man, this is like the worst. When you're dealing with a stupid... All right. Oh, here we go. Okay, I got this to work. I'm copying. I'm putting this in some sort of way that I can make in a note. Ooh, we're doing a note. Give me the note. We're going to read this together. I want you guys to see this insanity that I received. This may not appear properly because it's a note. Come on, why aren't you working? Mother... You know what I mean? Like, I'm here trying to get it, and you can't let it happen? Oh, I copy and paste, and it doesn't work. Kind of annoying, Really annoying. Now I gotta go back and freaking find the email again. Unreal. That's probably the most annoying thing about this thing. Is every time I go through, I have to find that freaking email. Okay, I found it again. Thank you. I'm going to leave it open for a second and see if we can copy and paste. Copy and motherfucking paste. So, guys, if you're just getting here now, basically what happened is I almost got scammed out on a $6 million real estate transaction. Yes, this worked. Here we go. I'm saving it on the disk ETFs. Call it Boobity Boo. We're saving it as Boobity Boo. There we go. Guys, you see right there, this guy says he's worth $338 million. We're going to get back to that, okay? We have to go into this story of who is Ali Salim. Where is my... I mean, like, why isn't it showing up? Unreal. You know, when you're trying to do it. Is this it? This is it. I found it. You know, stop being so fresh. Okay, is this working? This is not working. This is showing a tiny bit of the information. Unfreaking real, guys. All right, I guess I'm just going to have to read this to you because obviously this is like mentally challenged. What I'm trying to do here is not working. So let's go back, close this for a second, or go back to the original picture we have, okay? Here's where we go. We go back to the top. So you guys see this is the contract. Hey, Mark, looks good. Property looks good. Send me the contract. $6.795 million right here, okay? From Ali Salim. So what did Ali Salim have to say? The offer, and again, I'll go back because this is basically where we were when I walked away from it. I was going to try to show this to you, but it's just not working out, unfortunately. Unless... No, that's not going to work. So, my name's Ali Salim. I'm an offshore engineer, and hence I cannot be available for calls. And the best possible means of communication with me would be through email. I am always offshore. Who the fuck is always offshore, right? That's the first red flag. I was like, what was the second red flag? Because the first one was like, okay, he's not calling. And then he tells me why he's not calling because he's an offshore engineer and hence he is not available for a call now, as the best possible means of communication with me will be through email. I am always offshore. So then he gives me his information. Literally gives me like telephone number, his flat. It's in Wen Chai, Hong Kong. That's where he is. He's in Wen Chai, Hong Kong. And then this is where it gets, this is a 3-point bullet point setup here. Like this is a real offer from a real person who's trying to buy a property as far as I'm seeing. Okay. They're from somewhere else in the world. They see my ridiculous property on the market. They're super wealthy because they sent me that proof of funds, which you're about to see. And they say, okay, the purchase would be a cash buy, and I would be a reasonable deposit immediately through my investment broker. I would like to settle all the upfront and full payment via a lawyer that is vast in business purchase dealing prior to the closing of this purchase. Hence, I will solicit your help in helping to get a reputable law firm within your jurisdiction to help with escrow and holding funds for me to trust the close in this deal. Guys, this is real stuff you hear, okay? I just want to say that to you one more time. First of all, he's saying that he is going to send a deposit through his investment banker. So this guy seems real. He says that prior to purchasing, he wants to make sure he has an attorney vet this transaction. And he wants me to get him a great attorney to do that. What kind of scammer would say, hey, I want you to find me a good attorney who's got vast business knowledge in order to close this transaction for me? This is a real person, right? Number 3, I would like an inspection, and it would be contingent to the purchase. The inspection can be done as I can pay for it through the lawyer that you will refer to me and your company trust account where funds will be held. Also, I would like to close within 30 days from now. The inspector can send me a video tour of the property before my eventual arrival for closing. That way the owner should not be bothered about my viewing the property before offer, and made to you kindly send me a virtual tour. Guys, I sent him a virtual tour immediately. Kindly send me the offer document in a DocuSign format so I can review. I cannot access a printer at this time due to my present location. Guys, on the offshore. He's in the offshore doing it, you know. But this is what we got from him. Okay? Regards, Ali Salim. So did you hear that? Hey, Mark, I love the deal. I love the property. Send me the paperwork. Given full asking price. I need you to find the attorney because I need a good attorney. So you lock me in with an attorney. I'm going to set you up with my investment banker. They're going to send the money over. And I'm going to be there in 30 days and be the owner of that property. From today, I want to own it. From 30 days. From today. You hear all that? That's a big deal right there. Okay, Mr. Salim. Yes, it's Mark Pires. I know that you're... Actually, I can't. He doesn't pick up a freaking phone call. Mr. Salim, this is Mark Pires from Berkshire Hathaway. I'm still trying to reach you, get you on the line. Look, I got your offer, got it signed. It's great and all. And I know you're sending a check, but, it's typical that there's a proof of funds that's sent. Can you send a proof of funds along so we can just make sure everything's on the up and up? This cash deal, that's one of the things that we need at least is a proof of funds. So if you could at least just, apparently you're not going to call me, but can you send that over immediately, please? I appreciate it. My client's waiting for it, and I really hope we can get this thing wrapped up. Now, guys, remember, I'm staying positive about all this, even though I'm seeing red flag after red flag, and I'm thinking to myself, there's no way that this is a real guy, right? And so I'm talking to my client, and I'm like, hey, I don't know, we'll call him something elusive, like Neo. Okay. So I talking to Neo and I'm like, hey, listen, I got an offer for this property. And he's like, all right, well, let's just flush it out. Let's see. And I'm like, I don't think this guy's real. Who the hell lives on an offshore, and then here's the thing. He's always in the offshore. Then why the frick is he buying a $7 million piece of property in Connecticut? And so I'm like, look, I really hope this is a real guy, but I don't think it's real. And he's like, well, I'm open to it being a real guy. If it is, that's great. And so I said, well, I'll keep you in the loop. We'll see what happens. I asked him for a proof of funds. If this guy's, I have to assume he's going to fold once we start asking him for documentation, So unfortunately, or fortunately, I was wrong. And I got this immediately. Almost like an hour later, something like that. Let me see where I can put this over here. So, this right here is basically a statement account from the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Now, my client, who happens to be from that part of the world, says that's like the biggest bank in China. So that's a good start. I'm like, great. So Ali Salim has an account at the ICBC, and it's apparently $338 million. Now, so then I start saying to him, look, let's look a little closer at this, because I really don't think, this looks like Photoshop to me. And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, do you have it in front of you? And he says, well, let me pull it up. And I said, okay, so first thing I notice is where it says $338 million, the numbers aren't lined up. The 338 is not lined up with the rest of the numbers. And I said, that to me looks like it was added in with a typewriter. And that doesn't seem right. And so then I start seeing other things, like his name is bold and it's in a different type of font. If you start looking even closer, the pixel is not the same as see all the rest of the fonts? The pixel for his name is a little bit sharper. And that to me seems a little weird. And I was like, I don't think that's a real account. It seems like it's not a real account. But again, guys, when you see $338 million right there, and it comes through and the guy says he wants to buy your property all cash, your client's property all cash, you're hoping. Okay, so this is where it gets even more sophisticated, and I wish I had this to show you, and I don't. So I get him an attorney. I found him a great attorney. In fact, it's the attorney I always use. And I said, hey, look, I need you to see if you could close this deal for me. I don't know if this guy's real. Can you kind of flush this out and look into him and see if he's a real person? And he's apparently sending us a check. And so he's like, all right, I'll look into it, Mark, you know. And so I'm seeing emails going back and forth now between the attorney and Ali Salim. And Ali Salim's like, hey, you know, I'm sending you a check. It should be there in a couple days. Let me know when it arrives. So then he starts hounding us. Hey, did you get my check? My financial advisor says he sent you the check. Did you get my check yet? Did you deposit my check? Can you send me the confirmation that you deposited my check? And so I'm like, look, Ali, I haven't heard anything yet. But now I'm starting to really be fishy. I'm like, there's no way this guy's a real person. And so I said, you know what? Yeah, okay, we'll let you know. But I haven't seen anything. I haven't heard anything yet. And so all of a sudden I get a call from my attorney, the guy I use all the time. And he goes, Mark, we got a check. And I'm like, what in the freaking hell? This is a real deal? He goes, yeah, I got a check. This guy just sent a check for all this money for, I forget what the, let's see, I'll go back to this one just so you see. This is what the original deposit was for, $67,950. You see that? So that's what the money was apparently going to be sent by check, or was sent by check to the attorney. The attorney gets that and says, hey, Mark, I got $67,950, a check that just came through. And I'm like, that's awesome. And he goes, not so fast. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, I called my bank and I told him, you know, this is what we got going on. This guy sent us a check from like Canada and he's from like Hong Kong. And he goes, not on the surface, that's not totally out there because people from Hong Kong may have financial advisors in Canada. But the fact that the money came from a Canada bank is something that we're a little concerned about. And I said, well, why is that? He said, well, this is what they do. And as soon as I hear that, I'm like, this is not a real deal. He goes, this is what they do. And I said, tell me what they do, buddy. And again, I'm going to just go back to this one. I think is a better one just because this guy said he had $338 million. Like, that's just mental, you know, to see that. That was, to me, again, anybody say, oh, well, you as a realtor, you should get it. Hey, realtor should have picked that up. They send you proof of funds. They send you checks. So I said to my guy, tell me, how did this happen? And how did the guy send us a check? Like, as soon as we're asking questions for documentation, as soon as we were sending information for documentations and checks, why was this guy not running? He's got to be, there's a bigger carrot here. I kept saying there's got to be something else. If that's not, what is he aiming for here? And so the guy says, this is what they do. They send us the check for $67,950. And what happens with an international check is it takes like 5 days for it to clear. And so what they'll do is they'll have the check deposited, and then they'll call the next day once it's deposited and say, you know what, I don't want to do the deal. I'd like my money back right now. And then you have to send the money back. Like, there's this law, you have to send the money back if it's within 3 days that a transaction's canceled, you have to give the money back like immediately. And so basically what these scammers do is they'll send you that $67,000 and then they'll say, hey, you know what? No, I found something I don't like about that property. I didn't like the pool. I didn't like that there's two, structures or three structures on the property. I wanted one structure, whatever. They could say anything. And they say, I want my money back. Now, most unsuspecting attorneys will say, oh, okay, yeah, it's in my escrow. I'll send it back to you. Or they'll just send it because the money's sort of there. Like, the bank did put it in because until it's not there, it is there. And so they send it back, and then all of a sudden, that's not a real person. There's no bank account for that. It's a fake check, but it took too long to route it. And they get away with it. And so I almost had it happen to me. Now, again, I was aware the whole time. Like, I can't tell you any of the time where I got myself excited, thinking to myself, oh, this is going to happen, to the point where I was like, I'm specifically not going to do that because then I don't want to be disappointed when I find out it's exactly what I know it is, which is nothing, you know. This is a scammer. Some guy sitting in like Calcutta or whatever. He's saying, look, I think I have a mark here. Here's a property. Now, this property had been on the market for so long, not just with me, but all these different agents had it over the years. I came along and I swept up and I sold it at the end. But the reality is, it sat there, and so someone from the outside could have seen that and said, I may be able to make a play on this one. Now, the one that happened just the other day is a crazier one. Gentleman owns this property. It's passed down generation to generation. 70 years they've owned this property. And so the gentleman says he lives in Long Island. He never comes up here. I don't even know when his parents or whatever passed the property over to him, but he owns this property and he's in Long Island. I guess just March 31st, something like that, he decides to take a drive out to Connecticut. He grew up in Fairfield. He's like, no, I'm going to drive by the house. I haven't been there in a while. Goes by the house. It's freaking, there's no house. There's that new house. Like, he's like, what's going on here? Here's what happened. Some scammer, I don't even know how they figured this out, but they find out that this property is vacant. There's nobody there. There's nobody living there. And then they just say, hey, I own this property. And they hire a listing agent. They call someone like me and they're like, hey, I'm on a tanker and I can't ever speak to you. This is all just basically email based, but here's what's going on. I need to sell my property. I want you to get me the most money you can get me. He sent me a 3-point bullet, just like this guy did, Ali Salim. Also, I want you to send me this, send me that, and let's get this property sold. You feel like it's a real person. Outside of that, there are still other pitfalls. You have to go to the town and look at records, but I still have a feeling that this scammer used the owner's name and pretended they were them. And then they took the money and created an account in their name, like all that stuff, because it doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. This guy pulls up and there's this brand new house there because 6 months earlier, this young couple, or I don't know if they're a couple, but they actually are, it's a man and a woman that do these flips. And so they bought the property, spent like $500,000. $500,000 putting money into this place, getting it ready to remarket for like $1.5 million. And this guy just pulls up. He's like, what are you doing in my property? Like, where's my house? So what's crazy is that once the people who bought it were like, holy cow, how did this happen? Like, they're blaming the realtors. You can't blame the realtors. You got to blame the title insurance for not getting that. But they're blaming everybody, and they're like, look, we'll get off the property, but like, can we give you $500,000 and like sell us the property? Because we already have a house here now. And the guy's like, no, I don't want to get your fucking house out of here. And he's like, the guy's now litigious as heck. He's $2 million. I guess there's a $2 million court case out there. I don't even know how it would be, tried, but that's what they got going on right now. And it's quite frightening, to be honest, because you really don't know who's on the other side. We always have the saying as realtors that buyers are liars. It's very, very true. I mean, this guy he tried to scam us. Now that I didn't know what the scam was, I kept asking him, like, what is the freaking scam? Because every time I'm like, okay, yeah, send me proof of funds. And then he does. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker has proof of funds? Like, what are we talking? All right, send me a check. Oh, yeah, I'm sending you the check. We got the check. Holy shit, we got a check? Yeah, but the check's from a bank that who knows if it even exists? So that's what happened, guys. It's really an interesting thing, to be honest. And I just want you to be aware, mainly, because if you own one or two properties and you have one that just, I got one from my mom or from my cousin and it's in Ohio, someone could just drive by and be like, nobody seems to be doing anything with that property. Maybe I could just flip it, scam it, Who's to say, oh man, I just thought of the ultimate scam. It's a bad thing to think of, but if you happen to have a name like, I don't know, John Smith, You could just look up all the John Smiths in the country. You know what I mean? Just be like, oh yeah, I'm selling my house. My name's John Smith. And then send the check to John Smith. And by the time money gets to John Smith, you're in freaking Bermuda. The Triangle. Like, where'd he go? He's in the Bermuda Triangle. Doing it. You know? I'm just saying, giving you a bad idea. It's a very bad idea. But isn't that crazy? I don't know. I think it's pretty crazy. So I'm trying to figure out why they stopped my stream the other day for playing the new song I put out. It's really weird to me that they did that. Oh, you know what? I should actually just at least, because there's only been 40 views of this, so let me at least share with you the piece of content that explains this perfectly. Here's the link. And see if you get it. I think this is a good story.
$174. Watch your favorite.
The most terrifying real estate story I've ever heard is taking place right now in my town. Imagine you're a real estate developer and you buy a piece of property for $350,000. You start working on the property, put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the property, and about 6 months later, the real owner of the property happens to just drive into town and see that his house is razed, it's gone, and there's a new construction being built on the property. Well, this is what took place in my hometown of Fairfield, Connecticut, which I happen to be a realtor in this town. We're going to talk about this transaction, and we're going to talk about if there was any way that the realtors could have known that the owners weren't the real owners. The property in question is 10 Skytop Terrace in Fairfield, Connecticut. You could pull it up on Google and you could see the story. The partners who apparently purchased the property from a fake seller spent the last 8 months developing this property only to find out it was a total scam. Gina Leto and Greg Bugaj are defendants in a lawsuit being brought by the actual owner of the property, David Kinnensberg. Kinnensberg said his family has owned the property for over 70 years. He lives in Long Island and just happened to be driving by on May 31st in the town he grew up. Property was cleared, and there was a $1.5 million home in its place. The same day, Kinnensberg contacted his attorneys, contacted the town, and this process of rectifying this transaction had come to light. Leto and Bagaj cooperated with the local police and the FBI during the criminal investigation. Now, the bigger story beyond that is the developers have offered the original owner $500,000 on top of the $350,000 they spent originally for the land to see if they could just, keep going. Hey, we'll buy the property from you. We already put a house there, Kinnensberg is seeking $2 million in damages, and he'd like the property restored to its original state. I'm not really sure how you do that, but that's what he's asking for. Leto and Bagaj have worked together on many transactions, so this is very shocking to them. And now they're pointing fingers at the real estate agents. I do want to be clear, when you take a listing, especially when you are taking a listing from someone who's out of state or out of country, sometimes you are taking a phone call from Mr. Kinnensberg. And if all the paperwork is signed by Kinnensberg, and you are seeing the owner of the property as Kinnensberg, transaction takes place and Kinnensberg gets his payment, but Kinnensberg does something shady on the back end with the cash, I'm not really sure you could blame the realtors for that one. So that was a Coldwell Banker and a Keller Williams transaction. That has not been reported, but as a realtor, I could give you that information. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this story. If you'd like to see more stories like this, please leave a comment, let me know. And I'll see you on the next one. Share and follow for more. Basically, that's what you got. I'm doing these stories like I want to get in depth and to kind of get into the detail of the stories. Planning on doing that more and more. Yeah, I'm not sure what you guys thought about that, but I think sometimes you have a personal experience that you need to share, and almost getting scammed. The only other time I could tell you is a really scary scenario, but I did have my identity stolen once when I was, I guess, like 20-something. And I remember I got an email, and the email was from eBay, and it said, hey, you haven't used your account in a while, and we're closing accounts, so we're going to close your account if you don't access it in the next, couple months. You could click in here and just let us know that you're actually still, have an interest in using the account or whatever it was. I don't even know it was an eBay page, and I was like, okay, so I clicked and I went in, and the crazy thing is, like, I I still remember, like, I clicked and it, like, all my information popped up except for I think I just put my password in. It's like perfect, right? And at the time, that's, you know, very, very early on in like the world of scamming. And so I put my information, I get into eBay, and I'm like, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with my eBay account. This looks fine to me, you know. So I log out, and that's it. All of a sudden, my credit cards are people are buying stuff in like Hong Kong, and you know, oh, I'm getting a call from the credit card company. Are you in Africa? What the fuck? Am I in Africa? And so basically, they were using my card and charging it all over the world, and not just my card, but everything. And the guy was like, "Yeah, they broke into your eBay, you know, and they get your credit card information from eBay." And I'm like, "Wow." And they have your social security, so then you're going into all these other things. And so it was a real nightmare. I mean, there was a period of time where it's like they destroyed my credit, I think, because it was like 20 something, and that was going on. So the reality is, this has been going on for a very long time. So that was my first step back. And okay, anytime I get an email from somebody, look at who the email comes from. Oh, Facebook's telling me something. Click on it. Oh, it's from Zibai X Vurshemenap that Facebook is clear. Like, what is that? That you think that's really from Facebook? You have to really do your research when you see something. Oh, we have this package that's showing up at your house. What the fuck? I didn't order a package. Thanks for letting me know. Well, let me click the link. Don't click any links. No links. You go to the actual page. Oh, your eBay page can be closed. Oh, really? Okay, let me close this motherfucking mail real quick and go open up the eBay page. I'm getting into it. You know? eBay. Where dreams come to die. I don't know if that's their... I'm not sure if that's their actual phrase or not, but like... I'd be happy to ask Joanne, but I don't really hear it. Joanne, can you stop that back there with the wheeze, really? Gosh almighty, Joanne. Oh my goodness. Joanne, did you eat an apple full again? What's that, Joanne? Joanne, I'm sorry. I can't hear you over the wheeze. But I'm pretty sure you were telling me about the time that you were scammed. You know, by Dr. Weaselfroggy. He told you, just one more. 18 times. Joanne. What's that? No, Joanne. I didn't want to have a conversation with you. I was just saying your name in disgust. You know, that you got fooled. Again, scammed by Dr. Weaselfroggy. Wear your mask. 10,467 masks. Joanne's wearing a mask still. Joanne, did you star in Texas Chainsaw Massacre? And the guy who chainsaws people's faces off and then just like mucks it all over his actual face? Like paper mache. Are you paper mache, Joanne? You know? Where all of a sudden you got ripples. But it's just the skin of somebody that you did your chainsawing on. You know. Look, Joanne, that's on you. You know. St. Peter. I'll hold you to task on that one, Joanne. Holding you to task. Guys, it's been a show. It's been a show. Sometimes it's music. Sometimes it's comedy. Sometimes it's a cool story about scammers. Tomorrow, we're going to do it again. Make sure you're here. All right? I think it's a big day. It's day 1785 in a row. We're just 15 days away from 1,800 days in a row. Out of my freaking mind. Anyway, you guys, you go away. Oh, goodness. Trying to get the chat open. You got to go away. Oh, goodness. Joanne, nothing's working right. You know? Sometimes you're trying to do it. Oh, here we go. You got it. Guys, if you haven't, please like the video. Please leave a freaking comment after the show on the video. And then remember, tomorrow, we're going to do it again. All right? Andrea O'Neill, Pamela Swan, Renee Woods, Cherish Killian, we of Liberty and Freedom. And if you're out there doing a lurkaroo, appreciate you. Remember, I will see you. And there's tons of content you missed. Friday, 1 p.m., Santa's on the Run. Don't miss it. I dropped a couple of shorts on that today. What's that, Joanne? No, Joanne, nobody wants to see you drop your shorts. You know? Joanne. What, Joanne, I'm sorry. I can't hear you over the freaking wheeze, you know? Ah, goodness. Andrea O'Neill. You know? She's wheezing extra loud tonight, guys. Extra crispy. Until tomorrow. This is the Mark and Spire Show. You got to go away. I will see you tomorrow, fam and friends. Joanne says goodnight over the wheeze. It's obnoxious. I'm dealing with it. Yeah. You got to go.